Hello and welcome to All Out Fighting, One to Watch with Mirror Fighting. I'm Rich Jones and today I'm joined by Yeovil's Dean Dodge, who talks about the incredible adversity he's faced en route to earning a Southern Area title shot against DP Carr that he hopes will be a springboard to bigger and better things. Yeah, so Dean obviously grew up in Yeovil. Just tell me a bit about what life was like growing up.
Life was fine, you know what I mean? It was just like a normal kid, you know what I mean? Normal childhood. Hung around, played football as a youngster and stuff, and got into boxing around the age 11 sort of thing.
Yeah, how did you first end up going to the boxing gym? How did it come about initially, and did you sort of instantly fall in love with it when you got the gloves on?
Yeah, fell in love with it instantly. It all happened when I was playing football. My manager told me to go down and get some extra fitness in, and I went down there on I think it was just like summer leave or something when the season's over. I went down with my mate and loved it ever since.
Yeah, what was it about boxing that you think you took to that you enjoyed straight away as a kid?
I'm not really sure. Probably getting punched in the face. And I just enjoyed the whole aspect of it. You know what I mean? It was just that was a weird one. Just fell in love with it straight away.
Yeah, and I think you had quite a few amateur fights. I think it was something like 45 elite amateur fights. Just tell me a little bit about your amateur career once you got into it. Are there any sort of moments that stick out? Just tell me a little bit about your amateur career from your memories from that.
Yeah. So I had didn't have a massive amateur career. You know what I mean? I had a few fights. I had 45 amateur fights, and I won like 28 of them. Got to the semi-finals, quarterfinals of junior ABAs. So I never really never won any national titles or anything. Boxed Harlem Eubank in Brighton. He's I think he's cousin of Chris Eubank. And I knocked him out on his home show. That was a big win. In Brighton, I knocked him out on the where was it too? It was in a big hotel. It was a nice fancy hotel, posh dinner show, and that was probably my best win because of his name and sort of thing.
Yeah, he's having a decent career at the minute. Have you paths crossed since then, since the amateur days? Have you paths crossed all as professionals or?
Not as professionals. I was winding him up on social media a few years back, but I think he's outgrown me a little bit. As in the weight, he's got a little bit bigger than me. I think he's a few weights above me now. I think he's contesting at super lightweight, but he's improved a lot. He's doing well, and I think he's in contention for an English title shot now. I think. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, and then you sort of decided to turn professional, but I gather you had a few problems with getting your license originally. Just tell me a bit about what happened there and what that was all about.
I went to go get my license, and then I failed my brain scan. So I couldn't get a license, and then at the time, everything just started falling to pieces. I went homeless. I split up with my missus at the time. I lost my job. Everything was all coming up one hit sort of thing, and then while that was all going on, I managed to get on my feet again, get a job on that, and I was adamant that there was nothing wrong with the brain scan. I met a girl off Tinder. Her dad happened to be a neurologist, and it was all meant to be. And then contested a brain scan. She paid for a brain scan for me. Got it turned over, and then now here I am now. 10 fights deep, undefeated, and fighting for a Southern Area title.
Yeah, sounds like it's been a crazy journey. But when things started to spiral, and you say you ended up sort of homeless and things like that, how was must have been pretty tough to cope with. Do you remember how you were feeling in that time? You know what you were doing to sort of get by day to day?
Yeah, it was awful. You know what I mean? In my head, people around me were telling me, even close friends telling me, saying like, you need to pack this boxing up and go find a job and that, because it ain't gonna happen. There's something wrong with your brain scan, so you gotta crack on and try and do something like that. And at the time when someone said there's something wrong with your brain, I was initially like really worried and that. And then all the stuff going on around me, it was a dark time. You know what I mean? I was getting up to no good and that, drinking a little bit and just doing silly things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think I read on your website you were sort of surfing on sofas with friends and things like that. How important were the people around you at that time, sort of getting you through what was going on?
I had some real close mates, like childhood friends, like who real helped me out. They let me like stay around their house and that, sleep on the sofas and that, and just basically just help me get me back on my feet. I remember staying with my mate. He just had a newborn baby born at the time, and I was staying in her room, just sleeping in there while obviously they were looking after the kid in their room. So it was just a really fortunate time that they helped me out then.
Yeah, and you eventually got the brain scan, got the all clear. Do you know what, like, did you ever find out what the issue was with the first one, why there was a problem, or is it still a bit of a mystery?
I think it was a bit of fact. I think it was there was a bit of fact issue on the brain scan that they weren't sure about, or something like that. It was basically the fold of your brain, which is normal, but they weren't 100% sure that they couldn't rule it out that it could have been an aneurysm. So at the time when they were telling me, oh, it could be an aneurysm, I was like worried to death, because I know aneurysms are like quite bad, and I've someone from my town had an aneurysm and he died from that popping.
Yeah, and then once you sort of got into it, I mean, I think I read Dean Lewis was your sort of coach and your mentor. How important was he once you got back into the swing of things and finally got that pro career started?
Yeah, he's been very important. I met Dean after I found a job. I started working in a factory about an hour and a half away from the gym here in Weston-super-Mare, and then I should travel down from there to Weston-super-Mare. So I used to work from 6 a.m. in the morning to 2 o'clock, do my shift there, then come all the way down here to train an hour and a half away. And at the time, I was contesting my brain scan because someone from the job I was at, he used to box with me as an amateur. He told me to come down and see Dean. And so I was travelling down there every day to see him. And we just clicked. It just went real well. We just we made a really good friendship as well. And now 3 years later, we're fighting for the title.
Yeah, and you mentioned sort of the hard yards you were doing in terms of sort of going to work, then sort of trekking to the gym and things like that. I mean, that's sort of the side I guess people don't see, especially at sort of that level of boxing. You know, I imagine a pretty hard slog. You must have had to sort of dedicate a lot to really, you know, give everything in your pro career so far. And yeah, I guess day to day must be still pretty tough slog, is it?
Yeah. Right at the beginning, you know what I mean. I had no sponsors, so I had no financial backing. I was there working 8 hours a day, then coming to training, all chasing the dream. Luckily now I've got some financial backing. It's not massive. Don't get me wrong. It's only like a part-time wage, so I am still struggling at the moment. And even in this training camp before this fight 7 weeks ago, I even went homeless again with certain circumstances which happened in my life, which left me homeless at the beginning of this training camp. So I was on my ass for that, and yeah, it's just got to keep cracking on, sort of thing.
But I guess all the adversity, you know, obviously it's, you know, the dream boxing. It's obviously something that you're so passionate about and, you know, willing to sort of make these sacrifices for, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I've sacrificed everything for this. Not wanting to go up on the dream, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people would have packed in when they found out the brain scan was no good for them. They would have said, well, someone's obviously wrong, and they would have given up then. But not once have I given up, even through all the adversity. I've overcome it all, and like we're here now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I guess it seems like you have had, you know, a bit of a slice of luck in the fact that the small hall shows have been obviously decimated by COVID, but, you know, you've got this opportunity of a Southern Area title fight, a big opportunity at a time when, you know, there aren't many fights for the sort of small hall show level sort of thing.
100%. I've been very fortunate. With my record having 10 fights, I was in contention for something, and I signed with Mo Pryor, who was my new manager. And I said to him, could you please get something sorted and get me that Southern Air title shot? He got me that title shot, and the guy I'm fighting happens to be an MTK fighter, and they happen to be putting on shows. So it's just an absolute blessing. It's like everything's meant to be. It's all fallen into place.
Yeah, and you think if you do get the win, it'll be the sort of moment that can, sort of give you a platform then to sort of push on to another level, hopefully.
100%. When this fight for me is gonna do so much for my career. It's gonna hopefully bring on more sponsorship, which is gonna hopefully put me in better stead and help me out financially. I'll be the first ever person from Yeovil to ever win a professional boxing title, so that's history in itself. And then just keep going from there, keep going higher and higher and higher, and just keep trying to achieve more.
Yeah, I was about to mention the Yeovil thing. What's it mean to sort of represent Yeovil like that? Obviously, a sort of fairly small town that's not had a huge amount of boxing history. Is it, something that you take pride in that?
Oh yeah, I'm going to take a lot of pride in this. This just means the world. Hopefully, then the town can really get behind me and start supporting me.
Yeah, is that the dream when fans get back? Hopefully, you'll be able to sort of defend one of your Southern Area title again, in front of home fans in Yeovil. Is that the sort of dream?
Yeah, that would be sick. Even if the Yeovil Town Football Club could get involved and maybe even have a summer event on the pitch or something, that'd be massive.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you sort of became homeless again a few weeks ago with sort of circumstances and stuff like that. I mean, are you sort of back on your feet a bit now? Are sort of things a bit more stable going?
They're not stable, but I had a friend who's let me stay around his at the minute, so that's been a real big help. At first I was just sleeping on my dad's floor and sleeping on a friend's sofas, but luckily one of my mates reached out to me and said, because he's got his own flat and that, and he said there's a spare room. He said you can come around here. So I've laid the mattress down there. I've just been living there for the last 6-7 weeks.
Yeah, and what do you think it is about your sort of character that enables you to sort of keep sort of plugging away through all these sort of setbacks? Sounds like you've been through a lot in your life, a lot of setbacks and stuff like that. Why is it you think you're able to just kind of, keep putting the effort and keep playing away and sort of never give up, I suppose, by the sounds of it?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's just like built up in my DNA. It's just like the person I am. If I walked away from boxing, knowing I didn't give it 100%, or if I walked away and said, "Oh, things are too tough," you know what I mean? Then maybe I'm not cut out to be a champion. You know what I mean? So I've had to go through all these sacrifices to prove that I am.
And you think it carries over into the ring a bit as well, sort of when it comes to the sort of hard rounds, gritting your teeth, getting through it?
100%. When things get tough, I know I'm going to dig deep. I know that my opponent hasn't gone through what I've gone through, and I just know on the night that I'm going to come away with a victory.
And obviously, I guess you haven't fought it sort of with no crowds, in recently. Obviously, it's been a lot of behind closed doors shows. But do you think it'll be an interesting experience when you get in there behind closed doors? Something that a lot of people haven't experienced.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely an experience. I've boxed as an amateur though, so I had a lot of fights where not many crowds are there. So to be honest, for me, I ain't. It's a fight at the end of the day. I ain't going to be too bothered if there's a crowd or not. You know what I mean? It's a bit like, it's probably just going to be a bit like sparring as well, where you don't have a lot of people there in the gym. It's just your coach and you. So I honestly think it's not going to make too much of a difference for me personally.
And out of the 10 fights you've had so far, are there any that sort of stand out? Any sort of standout moments from the career so far?
Standout one was probably I beat Sean Davis. That was a good win. He's done a lot in boxing. I think he's boxed. I think he won the WBC international title. He won an English title as well. So that was a good victory. I thought I would have stopped him, but I broke my hand in the second round. So that's a bit disappointing. I think I had another good victory over Nathan Kirk, who is in Midlands title challenger, and I knocked him out in 5 rounds. So they're the probably standout fights I've had so far.
And obviously, finally, hoping that a win to get the Southern Area title will be a bit of a stepping stone. What's the sort of dreams for the future for yourself? How far do you think you can go in the sport if things start to go your way?
My goal in the sport in the sport is to win a British title. Obviously, win this fight, and it puts me in line for the English, makes me mandatory for the English title. So yeah, just keep winning, going on from here. Win this Southern Area, and it's definitely going to open a lot of doors. You know what I mean? I'll be mandatory for the English. You win that, and then you're technically 1 fight away from the British title. So big things.
Yeah, and I guess must have been times where you thought you were sort of a million miles away from being at this stage. You must be, pretty grateful to sort of have that sort of dream within your sights a little bit now as well.
Yeah, 100%. With everything that's gone on, like COVID situation, I mean, like a lot of boys, a lot of boxers are not even getting these opportunities, not even boxing. And for me to get this opportunity in the box on a big show, on a big MTK global show is massive, and it's just unbelievable. You know what I mean? I'm living my dream every day.
Nice one. Cheers, Dean. We'll be watching on. Hopefully you come back with a win. All the best.
Yes, I will. Definitely. Thank you.